Jody has a question here. Can you walk us through the process of identifying that there is a niche in a system that needs filled based on the presence of an uninvited volunteer, acting to replace that volunteer with something more productive in that niche, and the maintenance approach or schedule for after intervening? I'm in a younger food forest here, and what we get is privet, small leaf and large leaf privet, and other woody weeds that actually start to occupy the understory in pioneering forests here. And I can show you those. But at a certain point, we get enough shade up that we can replace those elements with coffee. Here's our coffee. We've got coffee all the way through the young food forest. We can't put it in initially because it likes shade. And we need to get it in as soon as we can, and that is when we've got enough cover. So at that point, we're cutting a lot of our legume trees down to pollards, and we're introducing coffee, which is displacing a lot of the trees and bushes. Often they're non-natives. That doesn't worry us, but there's a niche here in this understory that if you don't occupy it, you're continuously cutting out elements that are not so productive. I mean, you can make tool handles from privet. It's a hard, dense timber, but as a tool, but that isn't our intention here. And how many tool handles do we really need? We only need a few privets to do that. But coffee, we need quite a lot of coffee. We're going to need 11 fully productive trees at least per person, and there's an average of over 30 people on the farm 24/7, and most of them are coffee drinkers. Plus it's potentially one of our great products, rainforest coffee, overstory, shade produced, fair trade coffee, but here we're talking about food forest coffee, which I think is probably one of the best coffees in the world. So let's take you through that sequence and have a look at it. I'm in an area of regrowth forest. All the smaller trees behind me here, they've all regrown in the last 18 years. This was all pasture except for the larger trees here and there. Now, just here, there's been a large tree fall, an opening of light, and we've got a niche open to privet. So here's small leaf privet, here's large leaf privet, and there's a few native trees coming through. Some are understory, some are large canopy trees, but there's a niche here that's opened up to the privet, which is a weed tree in Australia. It's non-native, it's spread by the birds. So you can see this opportunity here of like, how do I fill that gap when I'm creating a food forest? What's the obvious understory? Only takes a little bit of filtered light that likes to occupy this area, because this is not so valuable to us in a food forest. Now, a lot of the natives here that are coming through that are mid-story, not so understory, but mid-story, not canopy, are also volunteering. I'd rather use these for mulch to something of value. And that's where the coffee fits in here. The coffee fills this niche. That's the niche of the privet indicator. The mid-story can be other shade-tolerant, larger food forest elements. Let's look at the coffee when it goes a bit further down the line in time, because we're not just looking at a niche in space, we're also obviously looking at a niche in time. So I'm trying to give you different snapshots of space and time. Let's go forward 18 years. So here's our coffee, 18 years later, an understory of the food forest, and there's almost 40 to 50 species of trees in the food forest. Canopy, mid-story, lower mid-story, understory, and really there's hardly any maintenance on the ground because mostly it's just ground cover plants or just complete shade. So we're getting to be like a subtropical forest ecosystem. One of the easiest to produce byproducts is coffee. with no inputs, just output really. Bit of pruning, picking, nothing else.